So today we learn Java interfaces concept. Okay. So um, so let's see how to implement and all. But before I start interfaces, we discuss one of the class, right? So we cannot achieve multiple inheritance concept. So we are achieving through multiple inheritance concept by interface
Interface,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So how to do this we'll see, and why we need interfaces in uh, I'll explain you in a this big level kind of things. Okay, means don't go only for knowing this or I wanted to know about interface concept only, right? Because most people know about this interface concept only for multiple inheritance,
Yeah.
but okay,
Yeah.
but it's not about that. So what we're going to discuss, it's about a higher level, means when we need this interface, what is the architecture of requirement. So I'll give some more details on that. Let's if you're not able to understand, we ask me some questions if you're not able to clear on that, because it's all about we have a lot of web services, right? The web services also we are using a interface concept. A lot of the services they are using interface concept. So ask me if you're any confusion or anything problem. I'm
Yeah.
able to do. So so this one concept we'll call. Uh, let's first see whatever things we're going to cover. Okay. So interface methods, interface variables, and interface difference between the abstract and interface classes. Okay, these are important things we need to discuss. Okay, so first of all, see, remember, means I think you heard about the web services, right? Web services, this terminology you have word, hello,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what happened, they have a lot of requirement, means if you go in the higher level, they call like a service requirement specification. Okay, so in that moment they'll consider like a interfaces logic. So what they will do, what do you mean by that, so they're asking some services, means banking domain, anywhere you'll go, like your let's talk about your ATM machine also, right? ATM machine, if you talk, they'll provide lot of the services, right? That is called a set of services. So their withdrawal, balance inquiry, and something, see your
Depositing.
yeah,
Yeah.
available amount. So these are like a
Yeah.
services, right? These are also called like a
Mm.
service requirement specifications. So what they think, they give a set of interfaces. These are like interfaces. To client can see these interfaces, okay, but they have a set of services. Okay,
Okay.
so what happened? Suppose they have two terminologies. Okay, remember, client point of view interface can define the set of services. Client means who is going to access your ATM machine, like us. Okay,
Okay.
there we get what we're expecting from them. Okay, we need to withdraw with their answer, correct. So second thing, service provider, remember two word, client and service provider.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
if you see the service provider point of view, there is another interface. This is also set of interfaces only. That means what they are offering us, bank are offering us, withdraw your money, right? Client point of
Yeah.
view, withdraw my money, right?
Yeah.
Clear? See your balance. Bank is telling, see your balance. We are saying,
Checking.
I can see my balance, right? So two type of interfaces we have, but one interface is for the service provider who did this all implementation internally. Okay, second interface is against the services which we are going to use,
Client. Okay.
right? These are like a client. So
Mm-hmm.
interfaces are considered as a, are you clear on that, right? Service provider and the client.
Okay.
Okay, so like this most time will read a computer science also, means fundamental. They uh, will say between computer and user, what is your interface? Operating system is your interface, right? Between the computers and user.
User. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
who is a client? We are, user is client,
We are.
right?
Yeah.
But who is a computer is a what? Service provider,
Services.
right?
Yeah.
Operating system is
Mm-hmm.
what? Interface between this, like this. Okay,
Okay.
so just why we need interfaces, these are very important, high level. I'm trying to explain just because in the interview, in the interview they'll ask you, they'll not ask questions why we need interfaces, okay? They'll ask questions, in that way you have to respond. Why set of services which are expecting, which set of services as a provider, service provider, okay? So what they are offering, getting a little bit,
Okay.
I'm not worried about if I not completely get, because it's very high level. I'm just thinking because you're going to for the interview, right? So these are, you should know, and how I'm going to explain this is important. Suppose you're going to explain like through interface I can achieve multiple interface concept, right?
Multiple.
There's not a,
Yeah.
that's not a much differences, like everyone knows about that, right?
Yeah.
So be
Yeah.
careful when we need to use client and a service provider. What does it mean by the interfaces? I'm just trying to explain you. What do you mean by that interfaces? Okay. So this example like GUI screen, right? Means we have between the bank and the customer. Bank people
Customer.
so
Yeah.
who implemented these all the services. Okay. So be
Okay.
on this only. So let's discuss the second point on that only same. So I explain you, right? Interfaces and abstract class. Abstract classes are what? We can write an abstract method, right?
Yeah.
Inside inside abstract
Inside
class,
the abstract class. Yeah.
right? Let's see an example. This is an abstract method, right? If you remove this one, this is my abstract class, right? But here I can define like a defined method also. Abstract method as well as sorry. So in abstract class I can write a abstract method as well as implement it,
Implement.
right? Even I can write a constructor, but interfaces I cannot do this all. Interfaces,
Okay.
okay, suppose I'm writing interface, okay, creating interface, okay. So in that I cannot write a other than abstract methods. If you're
Okay.
writing, I'll get exception. Like this abstract method, why? Okay, this is my abstract method. Suppose I'm going to write like anything else, okay, it will throw the exception. Okay, so this is not possible.
Okay.
Okay, so it will throw the exception because in abstract class I can write only abstract methods. Okay,
Yeah. In interface class.
sorry, interfaces I can, sorry, that's why. Okay,
Mm.
interfaces I cannot define any non-abstract method, okay, but abstract I can write a non-abstract methods. Okay,
Okay.
clear? But recently in a Java 1.8 they have introduced two new features in interfaces. One feature is called default methods, okay, which can be implemented,
Okay.
and they created one more feature, there is a static method. In interfaces we can define a static method which can be non-abstract class, but right now we're not going to discuss. First we'll discuss the basic of interfaces, what we know, what we do, and the last once we'll complete our whole sessions, then I'll explain you differences between the 1.7 1.8. Okay, what are the features we have, but let's first understand the basic concept, because who is going to ask in the interview, they'll not about, then might be some people don't know about 1.8, right? They'll ask a question 1.7 1.8 they can ask, right? So be careful on that. Somebody can ask you what is the advantages or what are the new features in 1.8 1.9. So that we'll learn in the at the last, correct? First we'll learn complete functionality or
Come.
complete concept, then we'll go further. At the last we'll discuss, okay?
Okay.
So so in interfaces is a pure abstract methods, it's completely abstract, okay? There is a nothing defined methods, okay, in abstract class, clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
In interface class, right?
Always taking abstract, right? That's okay.
Yeah.
So it's interfaces, okay? Okay, I'll put my mind. I'm relaxed. Okay, so in interfaces, all are 100% pure abstracts method. Okay,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
in abstract class we can define a implementation method, right? So it's a, so I can say interface is a 100% pure abstract class.
Okay.
What I mean by, I'm saying 100% abstract class. Okay, but it's a, anyhow it's interface, but don't get confused on that. Okay, it's
Yeah.
completely abstracts. you can say. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, in abstract class also we will get the error, right?
No, no, no.
In abstract method if we declare anything.
See, I cannot declare like this is my non-abstract method, right? In abstract class.
Yeah, but it is like if we write the abstract method after the
That is fine.
abstract class.
No, I'm saying that is fine. But here I write, right? So no, what I'm trying to see, this is an implementation method. If I do this,
Okay.
I'll get exception. I cannot write this. But
Okay.
here I can write. These are like a definitions. Method have a implementations, right? But here
Okay.
if I am writing, if here I am writing, I'll get exception. See, I cannot do this. Okay. I can write only abstracts method. Without abstract, I cannot do anything. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Clear? So two things we can achieve by what are the advantages means we can achieve security means these interfaces classes we have only declaration part, there is no implementation part. Okay, so through that we can achieve our security. Who has these implementations? Who's going to implement this class, right? They have a
Yeah. In
they have implemented. Who is going to implement?
interface. I test.
Okay, so they have to implement this method, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so they has to implement, right? Who is going to fine?
Yeah.
So easy to enhance that. If suppose you want, I'll explain you how why I'm saying to easy to enhancement. Suppose you want to new changes, so interface is very easy. I'll explain you on that. Okay, don't worry about that. So how it will going to enhance? Suppose, see, I have this. I offer is here, right? One method. Uh,
Okay.
Withdraw your money. Okay, okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you have this service only, na? It doesn't know how we going to withdraw, right? You know
Yeah.
this part only, but you don't know how they're going to withdraw. But what I did, I implemented here. Okay, without telling to you means I implementing here, I'm doing some logic over there. Here I'm doing some logic and then I'm withdrawing giving the money. Okay, so if I do any changes in withdraw method, it will not impact here, right? You're seeing your services only, right? Withdraw.
Yeah.
What will
Yeah.
impact to you? I can do easily here is some business logic here, right? Without impacting to you, right? So this is easy to enhancement because I showed you this withdraw. That's it. You're going to use this withdraw service only, nothing else, right? Implementation part is inside of my implementation class,
Impl- yeah.
right? So I'm doing some enhancement. Currently I'm withdrawing from your saving account. Now I change the I withdraw from a saving plus current account as per requirement. Okay, so I'm doing some changes here. Withdraw method it doesn't it is not going to affecting to who is going to use this withdraw services, right? It will not impact anything.
Okay.
So this is kind of easy to enhance.
Implemented.
Yeah.
Enhance.
Okay. So clear. So two system can communicate with the interfaces only. That will not require to discuss right now. Suppose interfaces through, let's example not showing here, but I'm just worried because in interview they can ask a question. So see, I have one web services. Okay, so or I can say I'm giving this withdraw services to somebody else. Okay, so what I'll do, they'll use withdraw services, but internally how they implement it, they're not worried about us. The implementation might be in a mainframe or some another technologies, which can be
Oh,
like C++ or anything else. So don't worry. So this can be happen. Implementation they can do on any other language also. Okay. So for now, just remember this point only. I'll explain this also. Okay. So let's go slowly on that. So achieve the security, and the second part is just remember. Third part just forget it. We'll discuss this later. How to do that. Okay. One second.
okay.
So there is a lot of system. They'll do communications between the two different system. So they're doing providing with the interfaces, right? I told you like user and our desktop, right? Means our computer and between
System.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how we doing this through operating system, right?
So,
So operating system like our interfaces between user
in
and computers.
and the client. Yeah.
You can say processor or computers, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how to go in the technical way, how to write a code and all. I almost show you this code. So declaration, the implementation of the interfaces, right? I told you how to write a code. So see, um, right, so this is a keyword, interface keyword, and then we have a I displayable. These are it's not important, okay? Means a lot of people will put like a I in the front of your class, okay? Just like I put a I test, right? So this kind of a
Yeah.
notation, somebody lot of is a naming convention is not a recommend. You can say recommendation only. It's not a mandatory. Suppose you put like a display only, this is also fine. But
Oh,
interface you have to write like in a classes we are writing a class, right? Similar, you have to write a interface, okay? But I is a kind of a notation interface class, or sometimes they have a displayable, clonable, serializable. So these also they are using as a naming convention for the interfaces. So not an issue, okay? You can do.
oh, okay.
So second,
We can give like whatever we want. We can
yes,
declare as interface, right?
yes. But should we give the naming convention like let's say putting the I, okay?
Okay.
I notation kind of interface like you have a class, any class like a service like user service, right? If you're putting user service like interfaces, I user services. This is good.
Okay.
Looks good, right? I means is like anyone can understand. It looks like an interface.
Interface. Yeah. Yeah.
Interface, okay? So this is not a mandatory, but you can put naming as a naming convention, okay? So now I'm putting C methods here. Display, right? Display, white display. In abstract class, we have to write abstract method, right? I hope you remember.
Yeah.
But interface is not a mandatory. Just write a wide display comma. By default, it will cover public statics, public and abstract by default. See, in example, I write here, right? If you're not writing also, what is it? No exception. See,
Abstract. Okay.
by default
Oh,
is a public and abstract. If it
abstract. Yeah.
is not defined, see, but in abstract class we have to define, but interfaces is not required, okay? If we're defining also, that's fine, but if not defining, it will take by default what? Public and abstract.
Applicant.
Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Clear.
who is going to implement this class? They has to implement what? Public can be public hook, right? Cannot go down. Public to protected we cannot go. Public to private we cannot go. Should be public to public, right?
Public one. Yeah.
So see this, okay? If it just overriding display method, then I'm overriding what? Display message also, okay? Means what I'm
Okay.
doing, I'm implementing this both the method, not overriding. You can say overriding also, but both are going to implement it, right? Who is going to implement? Child class. Who is child
Oh.
class? Who is child class? Who implemented this class, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The displayable class has implemented this I displayable interface, and they has to implement these two methods. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yeah.
So it's a very suppose you have a two interfaces, right? Two methods, display and display message. Suppose it's just going to provide only one implementation, one method implementation, not the both.
Oh.
Okay, in that case you'll get exception. Suppose here, suppose here I have a two method, right? I'm just doing the one implementation. I'll get a message error. See, unimplemented methods. Okay, that means I have to define the both the methods. Okay, it's not good. Okay, you have to define the
Oh.
both implementation, otherwise you'll get a compile time error. Okay, see here what I'm getting. This I must implement the
Must.
inherited the abstract methods. Okay,
Okay.
what is that? Withdraw methods. Okay, so there is not right. You have to define the both the methods, otherwise
Both
you'll
the
get a
methods.
yeah, otherwise you'll get a
Mm.
compile time error. What are the abstract methods you have? Both methods have to define, otherwise you get a compile time error. Okay,
Okay.
and I told you public, so you cannot go beyond that public. Suppose you
Pub-
have public methods by default, public and abstract. If you're going through private, you're like see, suppose this is I did not define anything, right? Now I'm trying to put anything protected, right? I cannot do that. See, I'm getting exception, right?
Yeah.
If you're
If
going to default also, I'm getting exception C. That means this is a by default what public. So public can go public only, cannot go
if
default.
we can go abstract also.
Abstract means here.
Yeah, we can declare like in the place of public we can declare like abstract.
No, this is not abstract method, right? This is a definition method. Abstract means you have to close this one. This is abstract methods. If you're
Okay.
defining curly braces open and close, that is not abstract methods. Abstract, see, if you have this is abstract method. This, if you have a closing here, that is abstract method. Okay. Suppose you have a definitions which is open and close with curly braces. That is a implementation. Okay. That is called
Okay.
definition also. These are not abstract method. These are abstract methods.
Yeah. Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. In that case, what? See, this is
If it
another
is
good.
getting error.
No, will not get error. Why? Tell me. This is a what
Abstract
interface,
or
but the second class is what abstract class, right?
abstract. Yeah.
And abstract class can be have abstract method also, right? If you right, so no need to declare this one. See, so what I'm trying to
Okay.
say, see, in an abstract class, I can write abstract method, right?
Yeah.
I can have abstract method, right? So, so this abstract method is also available in these methods. I can write this that way, right? If I'm writing abstract, I can do this also, right? An abstract, right?
Yeah.
This is possible, right?
Yeah, but
Suppose
it's showing. Okay.
no, this is possible, right? So what I did, I
Yeah.
will enable here. Automatically, it will come here also, right? Because this is
Yeah.
parent class is a what interfaces. So automatically it will come this also, right?
Yeah.
Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So we can have this abstract class, but suppose it's not abstract class, you'll get exceptions. You have to
We have to
implement.
declare
Okay?
both the methods.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to implement both the methods. Clear?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So now this is all about the abstract class, right? Suppose this is also implement. Sorry, interface. Okay.
Interface.
The interface can extend the class. It cannot implement. Okay, remember. Okay. And interfaces we cannot do this implementation, right? All are abstract only always. So this is also possible. Okay. See this concept.
Okay.
Okay, clear? As interfaces can extend another interfaces, but class they has to implement, right?
Okay.
Suppose I have another interfaces. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I want to this both. I can do. This is called multiple inheritance. See, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I can do this
Mm-hmm.
also. And if I have a class, okay, I can do this also. This is called inter multiple inheritance. Remember, okay?
Interface. Nothing but
Yes, this is a what class. What I'm doing is implementing this both, okay?
both the classes. Yeah.
But I told you who is going to implement. They has to implement the method also, right?
Yeah.
So this class is has to implement. Clear?
Yeah.
So I'm implementing both the methods, okay? Clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is see, if you extend class is going to extend class can extend only one class, but if you extend in interfaces, you can extend the multiple classes. Okay, multiple inheritance. Sorry, multiple interfaces you can extend. Clear?
Okay.
This interface you can extend multiple interfaces.
Interfaces. Yeah.
This is a class you can implement multiple
Multiple classes.
interfaces. These are also interfaces.
Okay.
But class cannot extend any other class more than one.
Oh, okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
I'll give another. class A, okay, class B, okay, clear? Then I'm creating
Yeah.
class C, then I'm doing action, okay, A, comma, B. I cannot do this exception. See, I cannot do that. Okay, invalid.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah. Okay.
But interfaces you
Okay.
can suppose these are if this see, okay, suppose this is a interfaces. This one. See, suppose these are interfaces. I can implement multiple. Okay,
Okay.
if interfaces can extend multiple inheritance. Okay, these are possible. Clear on that?
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. So these are concept we have. Okay, so this we discuss. So see this extend and implement concept. Okay, a class can extend only one class at a time. I explain you, right? Clear?
Yeah. Okay.
See this one, this last one. I cannot extend more than that.
More than one. Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. The second one, a class can implement number of interfaces at a time. Clear?
Yeah.
See, this is a class can implement in multiple inheritance. Okay. Clear?
Yeah. We have to use like implement keyword.
Yes, yes. Implement. This I'm mentioning implements here. The first line is
Okay.
extend, second line is implement. Okay. A class can extend a class and can implement any number of interfaces. Like what they're trying to say, this is a class, right? And they can extend also. They're saying can be extend. A. Okay. See, they're saying class can extend a class plus multiple inheritance. See this one. A class can extend a class and can implement any number of interfaces same time, right? Simultaneously. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
See this example. T class is extended a class, one class, then multiple inheritance they implemented, right?
Interfaces. Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
The last option interfaces can extend any number of interfaces at a time, right? See this example. These interfaces can extend multiple inheritance,
Yeah.
right? Clear?
Yeah. Yeah. Clear.
So see this example. I hope, right? That we clear on this? This everything?
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Let's talk about these are like a how to implement, how to extend. Now the important thing, see clear, right? These are multiple inheritance. Where we have multiple inheritance, this is a multiple inheritance, right? Class
Yeah.
can extend multiple interfaces. This is called multiple inheritance
Multiple
concept.
inheritance.
Okay, so I'm not focusing on that part because most of people will not ask these questions. They'll ask these technical things what I'm here discussing. Okay, so let's discuss about interface method, how it will work. Okay, so I
Okay.
told you, right, whatever you're going to whatever you're going to write in a method, that doesn't matter, right? Means that method, suppose I did not write anything, just write a display and void. So by default these are what? Public and
Public and
abstract.
abstract.
Right.
Yeah.
Public and abstract. Doesn't matter. Suppose you write a public, automatically it will abstract. Suppose you write abstract, it will automatically is a public. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, suppose you have right here, suppose you write public only, but still we have what? Abstract. Okay. Suppose is right here abstract, not public, but it still is what? Public, abstract,
Absolutely.
whatever you have defined, right? So by default
Yeah.
we'll take public and abstract. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Clear? So who's going to implement this method? They has to implement with the public, right? Public and implementation methods, right?
Yeah.
Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's see what are the combination we have. Suppose this is a public, right? So I can write this way. If I write display, white display, the by default is a public and a abstract. Suppose I write a public, it's what? Public abstract
Abs-
white, right? Suppose I write
yeah.
that way. So by default what? Public abstract white display, right? And like down, public abstract dot. These all are correct behavior, okay?
Okay.
So it will not take other than public and abstract, any other modifier. Okay, remember this point. Suppose they're defining
Okay.
like a method is a private, will not take protected, will not take final, will not. These are all modifier you cannot applied on this abstract interfaces method. Okay,
Interface method. Yeah.
clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. We discuss about the method, right? Now we have to discuss about variables. Okay, so remember this point, it's very important. Okay, in interfaces variables, those are by default public, static, final.
Okay.
Methods are what? Public and abstract.
Public and abstract.
But variables are by default public, static, and final. Okay,
Okay.
so what do you mean by public? That variables are accessible anywhere on that, right? Anywhere on the applications, right? Public means.
Yeah.
Static means what? That we can access by the class name. No need to create an
Class.
object, right? Static means.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
final means what? Once you define the final any variables, that means we cannot change that variable, right? After that we cannot change.
Yeah. Override. We cannot override that one.
Override means method, but here what is the variables? We're talking about the variables.
Okay. We cannot change.
We cannot change. We have a public class. Sorry, final keyword, final modifier can assign define on the class. We can define on the methods. We can define on the variables. Variables means we cannot change the what are the value we initialize. Methods, if you're doing the final methods, that means we cannot override that methods, right? Suppose we're defining
Yeah.
any class as a final, that means we cannot create any subclass of that class. Okay, final class.
Yeah.
Okay. Clear on that, right?
Yeah.
So let's see this. Let's have some example means what are the valets means we how we can declare these variables. Okay,
Okay.
these are like suppose int id. Okay, so by default what? Public, static, final, right?
Final. Yeah.
So now we declare public, that means by default public, final, static by default, right? Whatever you have written. Okay, similar thing,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
any values is a by default final, by default public, anything. Okay, clear? let's
Yeah.
let's have example. Okay, suppose I'm writing here int amount equal to 99. Okay,
Okay.
now I have a subclass class a who is going to implement.
I.
Okay, I'll remove this. I'll type one more. Okay, so tell me, final means uh,
We cannot change the.
yes, I'm going to change this. Okay, amount, I'm going to change this amount like is it possible or not? Should not be possible, right?
Slash. What is?
uh, See, I cannot change, right? See this, I'll get exception, right? I
Yeah.
cannot assign. See, because it's final. I can
Final
I
value.
can access by this, right? I told you,
Yeah.
right? Clear?
Yeah. Clear. Even though it is showing here.
Assignment operator, somewhere I have to assign. What is
Okay.
the use of that they're trying to say? Means if you not do this, so means why we write it, return that, right?
Okay. We have to return the value. Yeah.
Clear? Easy.
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. So uh, right.
Yeah.
So similar. Suppose these are we can do, but suppose it defining other than this public, static, and final, will get access, and we cannot change the final to any other this. Okay. We
Okay.
cannot define volatile and transient. These all values we cannot do. Okay, we'll learn this transient keywords in serializable time. Don't worry about that. Means just remember these keywords we cannot do, right? Okay. Suppose we will change something and other things, like I hope you remember in final you cannot put like this, right? We have to define, we have to initialize something. If you're doing this one, you'll get exceptions also. Okay.
You have to declare the value. Yeah.
Yes, in final, right? I hope you remember this. Final, we
Yeah.
have to define something. For the final, JVM will not initialize the default value. I hope you
Value.
know,
Yeah.
right? When the
Mm.
non-final, we have to define the value. Sorry, non-value, JVM will define the
It
default
will
value.
take the default value.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Or same only what we discussed. We cannot do that, right? Okay. We cannot modify, which we have seen an example also, right? So these are not
Yeah.
applicable for the interfaces. Let's see this naming conversion. These are like a we'll see that example. These are like a, we have some cases how to use interfaces. These are very important, okay? Because in the interview might be they can ask question or might be you'll get confused. So suppose we have two interfaces, okay? Let's see this naming conflict we have. Suppose methods, we have one method, okay? The same method
Okay.
name we have on two different interfaces. See, I'll give example. This is my one interface. I have another interface, okay? Same. Okay. This is like two. Okay. I have
Oh,
two interfaces, but methods are same. Okay.
okay.
And now I'm
Mm.
going to what is okay, two public we cannot. Okay. So this is now I implemented both, right?
Yeah.
But I have only one interpreter, right? The same method. In that case, also I will implement this belongs to both. Don't worry about that,
Okay.
right? So this way we
Mm-hmm.
can do. Don't worry about it. So what are the object we're going to create and a reference, that method will call, okay? So that we also can do. So people can ask this question. Suppose I have a two interfaces. Two interfaces, we have a same abstract method, and the class going to implement they're implementing only one methods. It will throw the exception what? So people will think like it will throw like ambiguity exception, but it will not throw any ambiguity exception, okay? As you see this, right? So you can answer clearly. People can ask this
So
question.
without main method also we can run that.
No,
That
no, we
we
cannot.
can implement that
No, no,
class.
no. We can implement, but you want to test, you have to write a public method, right? Which is like your execution point for testing purpose.
Okay.
But I'm just telling the code, but you can write the, if you want to test, you have to write a main method, right? Which is because execution point, how we can run. I told you, remember, I hope you remember. So if you want to run any Java class, you need a main
Without
method.
main method.
You need a
Yeah.
main method, otherwise you'll get a no such method phone exception, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so here you have to write some like any class a equal to sorry,
Mm-hmm.
like this you have to write, then you can put any other like I test anything input, right?
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
So I'm putting here like any print. Okay, so you can call, doesn't matter, display if you want to call
Yeah.
you can. Clear?
Yeah. Okay.
See. Okay, so
Mm-hmm. Okay.
you can do. I hope this is clear, right? So just see
Yeah.
this code what I'm trying to say. Just see this code, okay? There is no exception, no ambiguity problem, okay? Be careful on this.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, suppose you have a two different interfaces, right? I test one, I test two. Suppose you have a different argument types,
Okay.
okay? So what happened on that case? Doesn't matter, right? Both are different class, different methods. That means, suppose what I'm trying to say, suppose you have int I, okay? And then you implemented both the classes, that means you have to implement this also, right? Because you implemented this method only test.
Method is the same. Yeah.
Yeah, but arguments are different, right? That means
Yeah.
you have to define this method also, right?
Okay.
Clear?
Okay.
Both are two different method, like, right? Signature are different, right? This one has the argument, doesn't no, no, both are different,
No.
right?
Yeah.
method, different signature, right? So these are like clear.
Yeah. Okay.
So just see this what I'm trying to say. Okay, both have a different implementations. We have to provide a both implementation for the both the methods, right? See like this. Okay, what are the methods you're going to call based on the reference? You can call it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that we discuss these are the question. Is it possible that Java can implement number of interfaces simultaneously?
Yeah.
Yes, right. We discuss, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are like questions. Just go through this. Just think twice. You understand. Now we have gone through the method interface conflict, right? Naming conflict for the methods. Now let's go for a variable naming conflict. Okay. Suppose uh, uh, suppose this two. Okay, I have here int id equal to 90. Okay. Again, I have here I int id equal to 80. Okay, in that case there is a problem. How to access this one? Suppose you want to access this. Okay, because both are available, these are both are child, right? Both are parent class of the a, right? I can access
Yeah.
directly. Suppose if I access like this uh, id, I'll get a problem because they're not able to understand which method, which interface is going to
ID.
call, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
test one, test two. So how to do that? I told you by default these are what? Public, static, and final.
Fine.
Public, static, final, right? I can access by this, right?
Okay.
So we will,
With the class name.
yes,
Okay.
with the
Interface name. Okay.
interface name. So through that, if I access, those are very easy, right? I can
Yeah.
I can get. So both are different. See, clear? So
Yeah.
how to resolve the naming conflict for the interface? Sorry, variables. These are, I think, easy, right?
Yeah.
So remember, if they're asking questions of I have a same ID, the two different interfaces, and both are implemented by one class. How to access this one? So you can clearly say by the
With the
interfaces
class.
name. Yeah.
With interface name. Yeah.
So you have to say why, because the variables are by default public, static, final. So static means I can access by that, and outside the class because these are final. Okay,
Okay.
clear the right?
Yeah.
So be careful when you will get exception if it's directly trying to access that ID, they'll get a compile time error. Otherwise, they can resolve the naming conflict by using interface name. Okay.
Okay.
So there is one more concept we have. For now, just remember, I just wanted to discuss uh, marker interfaces. Okay, marker interface means, you know what? Marker interface means we don't have any methods. Suppose mostly they will call like a marker interfaces. Suppose inside there is nothing is there. Okay, there is a nothing. That is called,
Okay.
these will call like a marker interfaces. So what is the use of that? Marker interfaces. They have a such kind of a ability, and JVM knows about that. If suppose some classes are implemented this, okay, uh, see, so what happens, suppose this is my marker interfaces, okay, this is my marker interface does not have any methods and all, nothing is there inside a marker interfaces. So people will ask what is the use of that? There is no method and all, right? So what is the use?
Yeah.
So what happens, this class is getting loaded, right? JVM, at the time the JVM is loading, they'll check who implemented this. This A class has implemented I test. If yes, the JVM will behave some different way. As per they have some internally they have some algorithm. They'll check these are kind of marker interfaces. So JVM how to behave, they will do that. They have an internal algorithm. Okay, so you can say this kind of notification to JVM. Okay.
Okay.
So for now, just don't remember this. Just remember marker interface is like there's no method inside a marker interfaces. He has some ability to perform some task. Okay. So just remember this.
Okay.
Okay. It's not required for now. But remember, I just wanted to give a terminologies why we needed this. Okay. So suppose some of the marker interfaces which is implemented by some of the classes. So JVM will get a notifications how to behave. Okay.
Okay.
So these are interfaces here. Suppose people can ask you any questions. Okay, can we write our own marker interfaces? Yes, we can write,
Yeah.
but JVM need to perform something, right? That means we have to customize JVM also. It's not. Suppose I implemented one marker interface. That means there's no methods and all, right? But I have to customize the JVM also, right? JVM has to check if any classes are implemented my marker interface. So we have something. We have something. Mother, just put my class name at least. Do something,
Okay.
right? Anything I can do, right? Just put something or give someone to some money. Somebody's implemented my class to give money to someone. I get anything and I can do, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of a notification, I'll change my GPM inside also. Okay.
Okay.
So people can ask, you can we write a market interfaces? Can we write our own market interface? Yes, we can do that, but we have to customize the JVM also because who are going to implement my market interfaces, JVM has to act accordingly. That means JVM has to modify. Okay.
Okay.
So apart from we have some other terminologies, okay? So abstract class, right? Interfaces. Concurrent class. Concurrent class means what? Suppose I have A class A, class B,
Okay.
right? So A class has a super class and B class is a subclass. This is
Yeah.
called this is called like concurrent classes, okay? There is no sub, it is abstract class, no interfaces. Both are implemented like how we learn from the interface inheritance, right?
Yeah.
Those are
Okay.
like concurrent classes. So interfaces classes is like what? There is inside the interfaces we don't have anything. All are like a what? Abstracts. All methods are abstracts.
Abstract and public. Yeah.
Yes, all our methods are abstracts. Okay, so those are belongs to interfaces. Suppose you're going for abstract class, that means some are implemented or some are like a partially what abstracts.
Uh, Okay.
But in inheritance there is not abstract class, right? Not interfaces. That means all are implemented class.
Implement.
Okay,
Yeah.
clear?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So let's discuss about the differences. Okay, this is very important. In intro, they can ask you questions. What is the difference between the abstract and interfaces? Okay. So these are we have what we have learned this what we means gone through this all abstract and interfaces. If we don't have anything about implementation, just we have to requirement specific, then we should go for interfaces. This I told you, right? Suppose we don't know anything, those are like a specification, okay? And then we go for interfaces and something like partially implementation of partially is abstract classes. Then at that case you can go for abstracts. So mostly remember, somebody is asking question what is the difference between the abstract and interface, you can say interface is like a specification based, okay?
Okay.
And abstract is like a generalization based. So what do you mean by specification? Like specification means, suppose I'm talking about the vehicles, okay? And I'm talking about the vehicles, truck and car, two types,
Okay.
right? So it's like a specification. We have a truck or car. Abstraction means there is chances truck, car, two wheelers also it's like that, right? So anything is
Yeah.
kind of it's not a generalization. It's a generalization. There is not a specific. So okay.
Okay.
So in interfaces, every method inside the abstract class should be default what? Public and abstract. Okay, but abstract method inside the abstract class, it can be defined or it can be abstracts.
Abstract. Yeah.
Okay, so see these are like can go, I think these are not a much what we have discussed. You can go one by one and see this if you're not able to, because see the modifier also, right? Following modifiers are not allowed for the abstract interfaces. We discuss protected static notive methods, we cannot define in our what in method labels, okay?
In Yeah.
method.
Interface.
But
Okay.
in abstract class, there's no restriction on that. We did not see any restriction. I hope you remember in abstract
Yeah.
class, right? And every variables which present in the interfaces, those are like a by default what public static final by default, right? But
Yeah.
abstract
Abstract.
class variables are not to be public final statics like what we have in interfaces. You can define like anything. In abstract class, what is that? Is a by default what? Default only. If you're not defining,
Yeah.
there's a B scope is a default, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So and I told you interfaces like interface variables are what? Final. That means we have to initialize, right?
Yeah.
And but in abstract class, those are not final. That means you can declare that's it. Later a point you can define that values. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And variables we cannot change because by default is a fine a public, so we cannot change the private protected and transient we discussed like. But in a abstract class, those are no restriction on that. Okay.
Okay.
And this is another important thing. Remember this point, okay? Interfaces classes inside the interfaces class we cannot write a static block and non-static blocks for the
Instance.
okay instance block non-static.
Okay.
So I'll explain in the next class. I hope static block and non-static blocks. What I mean by that. So remember this is we cannot declare. See, I'll give example. See this is a if we giving this is a like a non-static block. Okay, that is called instance block. Okay,
Okay.
but this is throwing the exception, right? Suppose static block means this is my static block. This is my static block. See, still I'm getting exception, right? So this we
Yeah.
cannot do in interfaces. Okay, I'll explain you how to use this all static, non-static in second class. Okay, but remember this is not applicable in your interfaces, but is applicable in a abstract class.
Abstract.
Okay, and another important thing, we cannot write any constructor inside a what interfaces,
Inter.
but we can write a constructor inside abstract class. Okay,
Okay.
there is a one similarity we do both we have. We cannot create a object of interfaces as well as we cannot create a object of abstract class. Okay, how to create an object of the both? We cannot create, but we can create a reference of interface or abstract class, right? We can create a reference on which we can initialize by that who is going to implement the interface or abstract class. Through that we can initialize that references like who's the implement this child class, right? So like this we can do a like uh, how we
E.
can
Cap.
t- test a and through new
A.
a, right? Through that we can do that, right?
Yeah.
This is a way to initialize, right? This end we can do, okay? But directly we cannot define this, we cannot create an object for the abstract and interfaces. Okay,
Okay.
so anyone can ask question, can we create an object of interface or abstract? You can say no, but we can initialize that reference by the who is going to implement your interface or who is going to extend your abstract class. So through that we can do that. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yeah. The first point I didn't get that one.
Which one?
First point in differences, interface and abstract.
The first point, the first slide.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say, see, specification means we know that exit requirement. Okay, exit requirement means see, I going to vehicles point. Okay, but vehicles means is not a completely clear on that, right? Like vehicles will cover car, bike, right, and heavy wheeler and everything they'll cover, right? So in that case, I'll if you're going for a vehicles, I'll go for abstract class. Suppose in vehicles I have a heavy, you can say car. Okay, that is a
Okay.
specific, right? Car only. It's not like a if I create an abstract class for a car, that means I have to write a car related methods. Okay,
Okay.
but I'm going for the vehicles. That means vehicles can have a two wheelers, four wheelers, and heavy wheeler also. In that case, I'll go for abstract class. So what do you mean by that? No, interfaces car specific car method I have. Okay, but
Okay.
abstracts
Mm-hmm.
I have a for I can suppose I have a car. Okay, suppose I have a bike also. So for bike, what I can do, I can define that method for
Yeah.
the bike. So there is chances I can do the definition also in a abstract class, but interface I don't have a chance, right? Which are like a abstract method one. who's going to extend this class or extend to this implement these interfaces, they has to implement, right, those methods.
Yeah.
So suppose I
Okay.
have a car, or some my car is like a Wagoner or a i10. Why they should be implement my bike one methods? They should not do, right.
Yeah. Okay.
But interface abstract class what happen? Suppose I have a vehicles, okay, methods like a bike and car also. Then I have another class which is like i10, okay. So they will implement those methods only which are like a related to car, fine. Suppose which are related to methods are like a bike, they can define inside a itself abstract class. No need to no need to implement in a subclass, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Clear? So that's what I'm telling,
Yeah.
is specification is specific for your requirement. Then you go for interfaces. But your requirements are not fixed, then you can go for abstract class.
Yeah. Okay.
Clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is some question. Just try your end. I have an answer also. Try to understand. If you're not clear, just let me know. Okay. Clear. I cover this point also, but try to understand. Okay.
Okay.
Because I told you abstract class not create objects and this. Just try to understand. Okay. If you have any problem, just let me know.
Yeah.